Jake, wake up. The premiere's just started.
Are you joking? Is it that time already? Okay. I guess I'll have to introduce the viewers here. Hello, welcome back to another Chateau de Bruges video. Quite a long video this week, so I'm not going to keep you for too long. But what I will say is make sure you like the video, subscribe, click that notification bell, and hang around to the end of the video because we've got a surprise for you. I need to go and get ready. Okay, so we're here in bedroom 1 this morning. Our job for today, we are going to look at putting the glass screen in. So before we do that, we need to make sure that we go around and use some clear silicone in all of the corners, just to make sure there's a real good waterproofing seal before we then put the glass over the top of the tiles. I'm going to see how the floor goes first, see what the clear silicone looks like once it's down. If it looks all right, then I'm going to do this corner the whole way up as well, because that's quite a thick gap and there's quite a lot of grout there. And of course, with the shower on, there's going to be quite a lot of water splashing into that corner. So it would probably be a good idea to make that as watertight as possible as well. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so we've just unboxed the glass shower screen and the shower screen bracket, thank you. And with that came an instruction manual. So unlike Philip from How to Renovate a Chateau, I'm actually going to read this because I'm not as experienced as him or Graham in this sort of thing. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. So I will sit down and read this for 5 minutes or so, figure out what is it that we have to actually do, and then see if we can crack on with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Have fun reading.
Thanks. Okay, so before we put the shower screen up, we had to wait for the silicone to dry. Otherwise, the bracket was moving the silicone around. So we're going to give that a few hours. But while that is drying, we're going to get on with some of the painting that needs to happen still in the bedroom 1 ensuite. So a few areas to do. We've got the alcove area here, which is where the dressing gowns will go, much like they did in Revel. We've got some edging to do around all of the ceiling areas. We've also got some painting to do around the radiator and some bits above the window as well. So lots to do. We're going to crack on with that so that hopefully, once the painting's finished, hopefully the silicone will be dry, we can then get the shower screen up and all of a sudden it turns into much more of a bathroom.
Perfect.
Cool.
Where's a pen?
On my hip.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
just for you, Jimmy. Don't show.
That way up. So we're just offering the bracket up to the wall with it flat against the floor tiles, where we want the shower screen to come out. Danielle's just going to hold the spirit level against it just to make sure that it's nice and straight, which it is. It's absolutely perfect. So now she can go in and just draw some marks around the holes to make sure that when we take it away, we know where we're drilling through the tile. Superb. Nice, all 4 drawn on. Now we just need to drill through the tile put the wall plugs in.
Yep.
And then we can screw this back on. So we're going to call it a day for today. We've managed to get the shower glass up on the wall, which is brilliant. Something that I didn't really imagine that we would be able to do, just me and Danielle. So yeah, it's good to have that done.
Much simpler than I thought it would be.
Say again.
Much simpler than I thought it would be.
Good. I think it's because I made it simple. So yeah. You can probably hear.
Should we go for a walk?
Do you want to go for a walk?
Should we go for a walk? Yeah. Shall we?
I think someone wants to go for a walk, so yeah, we got to call it a day, and we'll see you again in the morning. Okay, so we're back in bedroom 1 in the ensuite. You'll be pleased to know that the glass is still standing. It has been for over 24 hours now, which is good. It means we're not completely useless. But this morning's job is to finish prepping the dressing gown alcove. So Danielle's already filled some of the major holes and areas that needed some filling first. But this morning's job, we're going to be putting some primer on the walls. So this is for walls and all sorts of really interior materials, so it's going to be good for this area. What that will then do is it will likely show up some more imperfections that we've got to fill and sand until we get it where we want it. So that will probably take a couple of coats of that primer, and then we will go to the grey paint, which will match the rest of the room, and that will be then a similar dressing gown alcove to the one that you've already seen in bedroom Ravel.
Just to add as well, obviously a lot of this paint takes a couple of hours to dry, so we may or may not, depending on how many layers of primer we do and then sanding and filling we end up doing, will depend on whether we get the grey on today, and obviously whether we continue with this next week. But we shall see.
Let's get started.
Let's go. So while we're waiting for the dressing gown alcove to dry, we're going to move on to another couple of jobs. So the first job we're going to do is get our sink dresser up to the bedroom. Once we've got the sink and dresser in place in the bathroom, we're then going to look to put our mirror up on the wall, so we know exactly where it is. So let's go get the dresser.
So we know we haven't cut through the top of the dresser for the sink just yet. The reason for that is because we haven't got a waist to actually hold the sink there, and we haven't cut the hole for the tap either. And we also haven't cut the hole for the waste and the water access at the back of the dresser here. But the reason that we have put the sink dresser in is so we can kind of gauge a height as to where it's going to be, so that now when we bring the mirror up, we know pretty much where we're going to want the mirror, so that it looks nice and is a nice height for people who are at the sink. So we're going to go and get the mirror. First time. Smashed it. So because I did it so quickly and efficiently, we didn't actually get a chance to video this next bit, but I've run the electrics for the mirror. It really didn't consist of much. It turned the electrics off, put a couple of wires together, turned the electrics back on, and there you go. So when buying a lot of the things for this bathroom, we measured this space to make sure that it could fit the towel rail of our choice. When we did a lot of the measuring, we did it before tiling. So now that the tiles are there, we have a little bit of an issue, and that is that the towel rail is slightly too long. It comes over onto the architrave here of the dressing gown alcove. So what we've decided, because there's no other logical places for it to go in the bathroom, we could put it on the tiles, but it would then be too close to the shower. We don't want to risk them getting wet. We could put them in the alcove, but we think that the dressing gowns fit that space much, much better. So instead, we've come to the conclusion to measure it up and put it here, and then use the Dremel to try and take a round notch out of the wood architrave here, so that hopefully once that's out, this will then fit into that space, and because it will fill that space, you won't really notice that there's a little bit cut out of the architrave. So fingers crossed that is the case. If it isn't, then I'm not sure what else we can do.
Okay, so we are now in the dining room, and I'm standing in front of one of two of our big buffet cupboards in here for storage, and I'm holding a load of black felt because we're looking to strip out what is currently in here and make it more uniform and a little bit more presentable, with some black felt to line the cupboard, just so it looks a bit, as I said, presentable, and we can put things like glass and it's not going to get damaged. So that's what we're going to be looking to do right now. And we have already done this for a second one, and hopefully we'll cut to a shot now that shows how the second one's come out. We're really happy with it and we want to replicate it on this one. So let's go. So now that we've cut the fabric and stapled it onto the shelves and got our bottom shelf fabric, we just need to take off what is currently on the bottom, and I've got my handy unpicker to pick that up, which shouldn't take too long at all. We lay the bottom, staple the bottom, and then we can put the shelves in and it's ready to be filled back up. So as you can see, it's a weird vinyl-y type covering, a little bit dusty, and it's not quite the pattern or the colour that we were going for. So out with the old and in with the new. Okay, so the chair that I have stripped of all the nails and the pins has now been brought outside for me and Jake to dismantle, re-glue and put back together again. You can see we've got chair 1 here as well, just to show you the difference. And Jake, how much sturdier is that now?
Yeah, because this was previously glued by myself and Dad a few days ago, this one's now much more sturdy. This one's ready to be re-upholstered. So as soon as that one's glued and dried, we can sand them both and paint them both, and then they're ready for Danielle's finishing touches that shouldn't take too much time at all. Maybe like 12 hours.
That's a lie. Right, let's go.
Come on.
So you may have noticed we didn't pull all of the parts away from one another. That's because some of the parts actually structurally quite sound still and were stuck together. So we thought we only took apart the bits that weren't so sound, and we glued those parts back together, ratchet strapped it back up, and now it just needs probably quite a few hours to dry before we sand and paint.
Smashed it. Just take a moment to admire Merlin here as well.
Little baby. Basking in the sun.
Sun. Oh. Okay, so we're back out in the courtyard. It is the day after that we glued chair 2. As you can see, we've kept the ratchet straps on overnight, so it's nice and solid now. That rocking is just it, where the floor's not level. So the chair feels nice and solid now, so we've got to take the ratchet straps off. Curious is just investigating, making sure that it's nice and solid. Yeah, he's happy with it. So we'll take the ratchet straps off, and then our plan is to sand the chair down as best we can. We've got a Dremel to be able to get into all of the little gaps and all of the details, just to make them as smooth as possible. And then Danielle's going to take some sandpaper to some of the larger areas that will be on show. And then once they're both sanded, we're then going to spray them with some Annie Sloan paint. You may be able to tell the viewers more about that Annie Sloan paint.
Yep, Annie Sloan paint is just a simple furniture chalk like paint. Used it on the Revel bedside tables. I was very happy with the result, so I wanted to try it out on these bigger chairs as well. It's like a creamy white, which will go really well in bedroom 1. But I haven't used the spray paint gun with it yet, so that could be slightly different, but I'm sure it'll be exactly the same as normal paint. We'll give it a go.
Yep, wicked. Right, we'll get the ratchet straps off and then we'll get sanding, yeah?
Yeah.
So it would have looked very, very fast for you guys, but we've been sanding for a couple of hours, really just to try and get some of the layers of paint off. And then we took a detailing bit on the Dremel to go around the areas that are detailed in the wood, just to help get some more depth into the detail. And hopefully when it's spray painted, you'll then be able to see the detail in the wood a little bit more.
So as Jake's just mentioned, we are going to look to spray paint it now. So we're going to add the chalk paint that we've already got, possibly a little bit of water just to thin it out, and then we're going to add it into the gun, and then hopefully you'll see the chair transformed from a slightly sanded white to a hopefully nice and even white / cream colour.
So just because some of you might be looking to mention it in the comments, and the reason that we've left some of the paint, or not that worried about getting all of the paint off, is that's one thing about this Annie Sloan paint that's just so brilliant, is that you don't have to do any sanding at all, do you? The chalk paint goes straight over any sort of imperfect areas and covers it really well. So that's one of the reasons why Danielle's using this for reupholstery. And one of the reasons why we haven't bothered getting every inch of paint off of these chairs. All right.
It's good to mention.
Should we go?
Let's go.
Okay, so you probably noticed that we were having some troubles with the paint sprayer. It just wasn't spraying as effectively as we had hoped. We did try and thin the paint out, as the manual suggests, but we've put as much water in as possible before the paint really just turns to a murky water, which isn't good. And the paint sprayer still wasn't spraying as effectively as it has done in the past. So we managed to get 2 good coats out of it. we're now going to use any leftover paint and just a paintbrush to go around and finish any touches that need it. Otherwise, it looks pretty good, and we'll probably have to come back tomorrow now, once we've got a bit more light, to finish the chairs off paint-wise.
Hello, so I'm recording this in the UK. I'm back at my UK home address with Rachel, because I'm over here in the UK obtaining my French working visa. So I had my appointment on Friday, all seemed to go well. So now it's just a waiting game to wait to hear back and hopefully receive my passport back within 10 to 15 days. So today we're having a family Sunday brunch. All the family I've not seen for a while are going to come over, and we're going to have a nice English roast dinner, do a dog walk. So I'm going to do some filming for you, and you can get to meet some of the extended family. So hope you enjoy. So we've had a lovely walk, we're just coming to the end now, so we're just going to head down the hill back to the barn, and we're going to have a nice roast dinner. Come on guys. Come on.
Oh, just look at you, Merlin. You look so cute.
Jake, come here. I've got a secret. So, I've been thinking about a little surprise for all of our viewers. Those that make it to the end of the video, we want you to comment, "You know that I know," and we'll show our appreciation with your comment.